The stream started.
I'm excited.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. So let's see here. Copy and paste, copy and paste. So tonight it's all about the chat. We are answering questions.
Got some updates.
Do we?
I think so.
Cool. Here we go, guys.
Let's hope.
News to me.
I'm updating you. Should just do a whole show on our calendar.
Well, hey everybody. Didn't you look at all? We're streaming.
Yay! Back at it. It's
Yes.
Tuesday.
It's been 2 weeks, so I've forgotten how everything works.
Yeah, it's been a blur. It's a little bit of a blur.
Yeah. But so tonight, you can't tell by the subtle clue behind and underneath us here. It's questions. We're just answering questions, but it's really about the chat. So, but we're asked a lot of questions about things, but we just wanted to touch base with everyone and just hang out. We haven't been in the studio in a couple of weeks, and we're working on a mural, which is awesome.
Yes.
We do have a photo to show, but we're gonna go back to the mural though and take better photos and like drone shots and all this sort of stuff and put all that together to show you. I don't know. We want to show it off better.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird with murals. You have to kind of like plan for the sun, and the sun would only be out on it like in the early morning, which was fortunate when we were painting it because then the sun would go down and we could be in the shade and paint, and that was great. But when the little final day and we're packing up, the sun is way off of it, so we have to go back up there and take some drone shots.
And now it's rainy, so
Yeah.
So we have to wait for the weather to clear back up. And the mural is an hour away.
Yeah,
so.
It was a pretty good drive. So I was like, after driving it for 15 days straight, I was like, I want a day or two where I'm not driving it. So
Yeah.
Well, Kylie Sykes joined us and says, "Good evening, all."
Well,
Thanks
hey,
for
Kylie.
tuning in.
Thanks for joining.
So yeah, we weren't able to go live the last 2 weeks. We did sort of, but it didn't go over to our YouTube channel.
Oh, it didn't? Oh,
But-
yeah. That was funny, too. We tried to go from the wall, and it was dark when we were doing it.
Yeah.
And the night lieutenant, the wall that we were doing, it's actually on a building that the police the police bought there because it's right next to a brand new fire station, police station they have. But then a building next to that came up for sale, and they bought that too, and turned that into more offices for the police and stuff. And the night lieutenant, Victor, who's really really nice. I didn't know it was him when we were at it, but we were outside trying to live stream, and it was just kind of funny. We were like, man, it sure is dark out here.
Yeah.
And then Victor, I guess, called out and said, you guys want some light? And then he turned on the squad car lights, like I guess, what they do to make criminals
like-
freeze from like a city away. Because
It
it
was
was just so
bright. It was like,
almost fell over. But he was super nice. Everybody was super nice. Lyle, the chief there, the man, everybody was just super friendly. We got to meet the mayor, the mayor pro tem or something, and then a third mayor person, I think, which I don't know, maybe it was a past mayor, but there are a lot of mayors.
there was quite a few like city people that would come by because I mean, Fate isn't a big city. It's really really small, but it's growing really really fast. So they're putting a lot of money into the arts, and so that was really cool to see. And they would come by and visit, and people would chat. And then it was funny how many people that were there knew the history of the town, which was cool because, which I don't know when you want to show the mural.
Yeah, let me see if I remember which button to push. So let me see.
And it's a really long mural, so it's like 84 feet long by 14 feet tall.
Here, let me try to. Is it working?
Yeah, it's a little stretched.
Oh, is
It's
it?
weird.
Let me see about that.
Well, okay, so while John puts that up, basically it's an 84-foot long wall, 14 feet tall, and they wanted sort of like,
Did that work?
yeah, that
Oh,
looks
cool.
good.
I
They
don't know why it does
wanted,
that.
elements that kind of told the story of Fate. So we knew it was the first rural post office in Texas, and the train is really important going through there. And but what was cool was Victor told us while we were painting, he was like, "Do you know the full story?" And apparently Fate used to be Barnes City, and they were applying to get the railroad to come through, but the only way that would get approved is if they had a post office. And Fate, which was what, I don't know, 10 miles, 20 miles north, was already had the first rural post office. So they told Fate, come down here, and they became Fate, and then the railroad came through. So it was like, I felt like at that moment we were like, the concept for the art came together perfectly. It was like great. It was just perfect.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, and it was it was pretty neat. And they changed the idea. Like is this us with our backs to back?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
us.
You can't tell this, but we wanted to do like an 80s montage. So this is us standing with our back to back, like in the 80s, like So actually, you know what? We could probably do it here if you turn which way? I'm not sure which way. Yeah, we go.
Then we gotta like.
Well, I'm just saying. But it was a lot of fun. But they changed the idea though, because they were gonna this was where we're standing where the photo is actually in the driveway of the fire station and police station, and the wall there is the other building that the police station bought. So there's this empty lot between the two, and they wanted to turn it into an area for people to come in, and they're going to put in tables and stuff so people can just hang out, be there, and they're thinking about having some movie nights and all kinds of stuff there. And right across, like to I guess the right of us there, towards the train side, across the street is like a pizza place. There's an ice cream place. There's all these different fun things that you can go there and get. So you could go over there and then come over to this little park area they're going to make. But it was going to be gravel. They were going to tear up the sod there and put in sort of gravel and make it all kind of flat and perfectly flat and everything. But because of the mural, they completely changed their plans. They had all the plans written up, and now they're going to leave it green. I mean, they're still going to put in the tables and all that. But
yeah, I think they're going to level the grass but leave it grass and make it a green space. So that's pretty cool.
So in that way, and on a pretty day, the sky kind of touches the back of the mural, and then the grass will touch the bottom of it, and mural going forever.
Forever. Well, Steve Evans joins us, says good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Barbara Brands is with us, says howdy.
Hey, Barbara.
And Harafi has joined us and says the mural looks amazing.
Well, thank you. Barbara actually came out and saw the mural, and sorry it was such a quick visit. It's funny, like it's funny. We had so many people come out and visit, and Barbara was so sweet to come out and do that, and but because it's a small town, during certain parts of the day, there isn't a whole lot open.
Yeah,
so,
there's nothing to do, until stuff opens.
Yeah, until like 5, and then like some things open up and all that. But
and there were like quite a few ant piles in the grass. So anybody that came by and hung out, it was like, watch out for the ant piles, and you're dodging them a little bit. But and I'll be honest, like, and this is probably a fault of mine, but I was on a mission to finish this mural. Like, we gave them like a set number of days, which I'm pretty proud of. Called it to the day.
We've never been late on a project.
We've never been late, but like I've never estimated the exact number of days. Now, granted, we didn't have a single day off, but it was 15 straight days, and I called it to the day, and we finished it on the day, and we were out of there. So I was like, I mean, I hate to say, but even when people were there, I was like, work.
Yeah, well, we had to be, really, because it was a 2-hour commute, and
yeah,
and it was just there's only so long that you can be up and down the ladders, but the ants, I never got bitten once. I mean I knew there were ants there, and I tried to avoid the mounds.
I got eaten up.
And I would lay on the grass, a little bit, and I'd said a lot for the mural, and I didn't get one. I'm just not sweet enough.
I guess not. Well, Barbara said I did end up with, because Barbara came out there, I did end up with about half a dozen bites from those little devils. So, and Robin joins us and says mural looks gorgeous.
Oh, thank you,
Thanks.
Robin.
It's awesome. My favorite. I will say I think this mural is probably my favorite mural we've done. Just because I think it was the most collaborative, whereas the others I'm just helping direct you on the wall. But this was the most collaborative, and it was a little bit more of an calling audibles as we did it, and I thought that was really cool. Like, for example, the cotton in the foreground wasn't initially in the sketch, but the wall,
it was in my mind. Like I always said, there's gonna be.
Well,
cotton.
yeah. And
but I didn't write it down or write it down. Draw it out in the sketch.
Yeah, there was a little bit of cotton in the sketch.
Oh
but
yeah,
like the
I
big,
threw in a few little.
Yeah, the big on the side and everything. I thought that was kind of cool that because you had with murals you're always kind of solving problems periodically.
Yeah,
so.
It was really good. Yeah, and that was one thing. In my studio, I'm the only one that paints. Like R2 back here, Beat Boop. Like I'm the only one that does that. And murals are the only thing that it's like a collaborative sort of thing. I mean, on most of my paintings, and this has like increased over the years, and like I'll ask Jackie what she thinks of a painting. Like, but when, like, hey, what do you think about this? And I usually have in my mind what I think is a weak point. And then if she calls out that weak point, I go, because she's usually spot on. Like, there's a part I think this is, I think this needs more work right here, I think. Or it could be right. Sometimes it's hard to know. And then if she'll say, except for that. And I'm like, yeah, got it. I knew it. But other times, though, I don't know. It's hard to call it sometimes where you think, you don't want to overwork something. So you think, well, maybe it's there. Because most of the stuff that I do, I want to get it right to the point where, like, the lines where somebody knows what it is. And then your brain fills it in.
Yeah.
I don't want to overdo it, and because I like that aspect. But on this mural though, every mural it's been more and more like the one in New York. We usually use a projector. We always do. Well, for most of it, we use a projector.
Yeah.
At least, and that makes it so much quicker because I always do the painting on canvas first. So I have all the lines, and Jackie will take a photo of it. When we did the first one in New York, we were just trying all this out. We're like, gosh. Because a blind person had never done a mural before, so like there was no book to read. There was nothing. There was nobody to ask a question about. We were coming up with this on the fly because we had an international film crew that were going to come and film it, and they were like, "Hey, can you do a mural?" And they're like, "Heck yeah, I can do a mural." And then I got off the phone and thought, "How in the world? what are we doing?" But it's funny to think going from that, and then and the thing about the projector is that. Like I have all the lines on canvas, and then Jackie can take those lines, we project them on the wall, and she's putting the exact lines down. She's real, what's the word, fastidious, and making sure the lines are the same, so that whenever I touch the canvas and I go up to the wall and I touch the wall, I'm oriented. I know, because going for kind of like the sketch for this painting, it was 800 times smaller than the actual mural. So when you think of that, and you think, okay, well, I have this little line, and you know where you are. But of course, I made larger scale paintings of the train, the horse, the cotton, and all that sort of stuff. That way. But trying to orient yourself on an 80-foot wall that's 14 feet tall, and you're up on a ladder, from like, okay, am I on the third cog of the fourth wheel, or am I, it's hard. So. Doing that makes it where we can do it in 15 days,
Yeah.
It's just part of the process where, okay, we have the lines down. But then one of the brilliant things about it, and then as we keep doing that, like Jackie knows the way I paint more than anybody. She knows the titles of my painting better than I do. And it's so cool because, like, we would do the murals where I'd be up in a bucket and she's driving it, not a bucket, but whatever that thing is.
The lift, yeah.
The lift, yeah, up in the crate, the balcony thing, whatever it feels like a balcony when you're on it, and I'm radioing down, and we're communicating, about where we are, what's going on, where I was, and all this, and then she painted like some of the stuff on the bottom, and it was usually like simple stuff at first. It was like, okay, if all this is yellow, then you would do that,
yeah,
and then it progressed to you, like doing more and more and more, until finally when we're doing this mural. And we're both painting about the same amount of time, really. And like most of the cotton, I drew the cotton in, but the colors, Jackie put all the colors in on the cotton.
Yeah, anything that was like because
a lot of the shading of the grass, like I did all the grass, but then you went in, and you did like the road, like I had the road in, but then you like I put in the rough road, but then you went in and put the white.
I cleaned it up and put the white line. I mean, this was definitely my favorite because it was very collaborative in that sense, and I am a genius at blending.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna say it.
For 15 days, guys, this is what I heard. The blending makes it. It's the blending.
The
it's
blending
the blending makes
the color in the cotton. The best part of this whole thing.
Yeah, she's
Well,
not wrong.
what was funny is like I can't do on these things. Like I mean, it's hard to see on this little screen, but like the train is huge. The train is huge. It's very intricate. It's super colorful. We'll have drone shots of like zooming out where it almost looks like what's that guy's work? Herring? I forget his name, but it's just like weird colors and shapes, and it makes no sense. That when I look at the train, that's what it looks like to me. So I can't paint those. Like I can't mimic that aspect of John's work. But when it's the simpler stuff, the blending, the cotton, the you know, I can do that. So that it was fun to be able to like get dirty and paint as opposed to sit there and just, you know, watch paint.
And the people in Fate were so brilliant. They were just so nice. And I mean, everybody. We had so many people coming over and honking their horns as they were going by. And one gentleman was 90 years old, and he came by first thing when we were there, and he just came over and talked. And his name was Bob Bramblett. His dad's name was John Bramblett, and his grandfather's name was John Bramblett. And I was thinking, okay, Bob, I'm old, but I'm not that old. I'm not your grandpa.
Well, and it's so weird.
He was so
too.
nice. It was just brilliant.
It's so weird to think about too, because your family's been in Dallas since forever.
Before Dallas,
before Dallas. So, I mean, it's weird to think that there is clearly probably like some relation there.
Oh yeah, isn't that weird? Yeah. The that little cabin in Dallas is a family cabin, one by the Red Courthouse, and crazy.
Yeah.
We're the first trading post.
Robin mentioned scissor lift, and yes.
Yeah, we were going to do it this time, but we didn't.
Yeah, we didn't have to do it this. It definitely was something that we were prepared to do, but you came up with the great idea of just building scaffolding, like makeshift scaffolding out of horses. Which worked out great because a scissor lift I think would have been too, well, first of all, small when the scaffolding worked really well.
Yeah, and it was nice because of the scaffolding, we were able to have it 24 feet long, which means that for a long time we had it in the middle, and we didn't have to move it, and it made it where where both of us could paint, and this is the first mural where both of us were painting almost all the time, and then it made it where we could split it up too, and we could paint on two different areas of the wall. So Jackie, one thing that Jackie did that helped speed this along so much is that you put in, like I put in the black lines to start with, but then you went back in.
Yeah.
And you covered up all the black lines, and that's just, oh gosh, so much work.
It's what makes the mural.
Yeah, and then, so I was able to go in and do all the painting, like trying to figure that out. And then right behind me, Jackie's following, and she's cleaning up the black lines that I was going to have to go back and do. And then it was just, I don't know, it was really, really cool that.
Yeah, it was a fun one. It was, I mean, outside of the 2-hour drive every day, it was a great project. I really enjoyed it. It was a good one.
And I've never worked on a project really with someone else where we're both painting, but it was kind of cool because when Jackie was working on the cotton. Cause I did a big thing in the cotton, and I know she knows my work really well, obviously, and then, I mean, she's around it every day, and you're always color correcting for the prints. You've done that for years, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're in, it intimately, and then, so you're looking at the painting, and I think I did one or something on the painting, and then you're like, all right, I got it, and you're doing it, and I don't even have to think about it because I know, whatever you're gonna do is brilliant, and
well, I have to tell
that was really fun. That was cool.
I have to tell you, what's funny about all of this is that, like I feel like I'm an artistic person, right? So, like, my degrees are in art, and I am an artsy person in that realm. But I always thought it would be so interesting and so illegal to be, like, a copier of the masters. Like, somebody that, I forget the documentary I watched, but it was the Asian dude that...
A forger?
Yeah, that would just... He could mimic these paintings perfectly, and not that I want to do that, but I think it would be a super cool talent to be able to be like, all right, you can look at it and then just copy it perfectly. And I feel like I'm not there with your work, but I feel like at some point, like with at least the basics, I've got it down.
Ooh, you're a bad girl. Well, okay, so if I ever pass away and you start seeing some new Bramletts coming out, you gotta look back to this.
Yeah, really, you might want to check for, I don't know.
It's like, he's been dead 30 years and there's still new work coming out. How big is this closet you said?
Oh my gosh, we have a collection of Bramlett's that have never been seen before by the public.
The collection's not that big.
Why you gotta say that? Why you gotta say that?
It's huge. It's vast.
It's vast.
We
Anyway.
don't have to move around a house. We're like hoarders.
Yeah.
With all these paintings.
Well, I'm not the hoarder. You're the hoarder. Okay. Well, Christy Almond joins us as hello, guys. Hey. I'm curious to see how the festival circuit's been for you.
Yeah.
And my mom joins us, says you were rock stars. Thank you.
Oh, Marilyn came out and man, thank you so much for that.
I know that was really
I felt
awesome.
bad. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, I know it was like 2 days before we were finishing, or the day we were finishing. I don't even. No, it was two. No, it was the day we were finishing, and it was just like, I'm in the mindset to finish.
Yeah, and it was, but we both appreciated you coming out so much, and we both felt so bad because, we want to show our appreciation and all that, but we're just working. We're just working.
Yeah.
I was up on the ladder almost the entire time you were there, but it was so sweet of you to come by, and and that was the other thing. Like with Fate, like during at least we don't know all of Fate, but there wasn't really a place to go to lunch or anything.
Well, I'm thinking go back out there, because if we go out, I don't know yet with our schedule, but Sunday is when they have brunch at that Mexican restaurant. And if you have brunch at a Mexican restaurant, surely they have margaritas.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to steal my mom and go take pictures, drone shots and everything, and then that'd be the time to, all hang out.
No, yeah, that sounds
so
like
that'd
fun.
be good.
Yeah, let's do that.
Jeannie joins us and says, good evening. All this is Jeannie Nylander from La Crosse, Wisconsin. So thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, well then thank you.
Oh, and Randy joins us and says, brunch is delicious. I would agree.
Oh, well thank you, Randy.
At all times.
Nice. Yes. Brunch is good.
Anyway, so one other thing that, because we haven't even gotten to like frequently asked questions. We're just yapping.
That's true.
But, one other thing.
But would anybody expect any less from us? Actually getting to the topic
not from
we're
you.
going to talk about.
Not from you.
Yeah.
But one other thing I did want to mention, because I wanted to share the link in the comments, was we went to Florida to do a concert with Mandy Harvey and some other insanely talented artists.
That was so much fun.
And if you follow on Instagram, they're all tagged. It's phenomenal. And so the concert aired on Thursday the 28th, and I'm going to share the link in the comments. So if you didn't get to check it out, I definitely suggest going to watch it, because Mandy Harvey's brilliant, and John painted the music that was happening at the concert. So definitely check it out. I'll share the link. But yeah, that aired 4 days ago or something like that.
It was really cool, and it was to highlight it's Disability Employment Month. It was for all these CEOs that are vowing to hire more people with disabilities, to actually make that a thought, when you go in, that, hey, this is actually a positive.
Yeah.
Somebody with a disability is actually, if you have an employee, you want somebody that if things go wrong, or if there's a problem, the employee is going to figure out a way to solve it. And if you hire somebody with a disability, this person's already had problems, and they've already, they're already in the mindset where they can solve this sort of thing. I mean, you get somebody that's more resilient, I think, so hiring people with disabilities just makes sense, I think, from a business aspect. But the whole idea of the concert was to have all these performers who were just incredible, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to sit there and paint, or not sit there, but stand over there and paint. Oh, and I wanted to thank ABC and NBC came out to the mural, and I thought that was really nice. That
was great too. One aired, the other one got pushed, and I don't know if they aired it yet, but
I don't think
soon.
so. Yeah, and the reporter was gonna text.
Yeah.
Haven't heard back, but there's breaking news, and so hopefully that'll air soon. But.
Yeah. Well, my mom said we loved watching you, although I was a little nervous with the wind blowing so hard and you guys on those ladders. So. Yeah, with the it was so windy that day. It was so, and I will say that there is one thing that makes me super nervous about you on the ladders.
Me?
Yeah, you. Well, and you know this is it's so John's definitely better on the ladders than I am. I don't like heights, so you're just woohoo, whatever. You'll actually set up the scaffolding, get on the ladder, and then you'll bounce just to test it, and I can't stand that. Like, it drives me crazy. So you're like, it's good. And so one thing, we have these on the ladders because they're really tall ladders. We have the step things. They hook into the ladder so you can actually stand. You're not on your foot's not on the ladder.
Yeah, it can be like a tray holder or a step.
Yeah. So in order to get on that thing, you have to go up a rung and then you pop it out and you sit and then you can stand on it and it's all latched together. But then to get down, you gotta. Anyway, the whole like popping this thing in and out of the ladder while you're going up and down it makes this sound like the ladder's falling, and I'm like, every time.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Every time I was like,
Oh.
that didn't dawn on you. That wasn't
Well, I don't know.
Whatever.
I mean, I guess I heard you do that a couple of times, but I don't know. You usually, like when we were painting out there, we had the music going and stuff. So and honestly, after a while, after you've been on the ladder a while, you're just like going down. I'm probably making more noise than you were.
Well, that's true. That was true.
So
like,
if you do that, I think that's just me making more noise.
Yeah. Well, and I don't do heights, and I was on such a mission the last like 2 days to finish this thing. That we had the large ladder fully extended against the wall. And we don't have any sort of like mechanism to hold multiple pallets. So it was like a workout. It's like go down, get a big, thing of blue, go up and then go down, get thing white, and it was like crawling up and down on this 14-foot thing. And I was like, I just want to finish this mural.
Well,
so I just want to finish.
I have to give kudos to you though, because even though you don't like heights, man, you were going up that 14-foot part and doing the sky, and I kept saying like, hey, I'll do the sky. She's like, no, I got it. It's like, really, I'll do it. She's like, no.
We'd still be there.
But you just
Thank you, babe. I appreciate that. Well, my mom says me too, so she understands my pain. Anyway.
Well, heights freak me out a little bit too, just a little bit, but it's just it used to be worse, but now I don't have to look down. But when you're up there and you start to wobble or like. I hate it when you have to be a little too tall, high up on the ladder. And for me, I have to use both hands because I have to use one hand to feel with.
Yeah.
So I can't use. So if I'm up a little high on the ladder, where you're not really braced in, and then you don't have any of your hands on the ladder.
Oh, I can't.
Then and then the ladder starts to go a little bit. Then I get a little fluttery. But usually, if I can grab on the wall and just kind of steady yourself a little bit,
like Spider-Man.
Yeah, you're like
holding on to the bricks. Yeah, no. When I was up that high, I would like I wasn't comfortable until I could wrap my arm around the back of it or shove it into it, and then oh my gosh. Okay, yeah. Anyway, so Karen has joined us and says loved seeing the mural.
Oh, thank you, Karen.
Thanks for tuning in. Okay, let's do frequently asked questions briefly and
okay.
Yeah. You got anything? Yeah. What's a question you always get, babe?
Well, a question that a person with any kind of visual impairment, and I wonder if this is true with other types of disabilities, but like with like the number one thing, and it's kind of funny, like if you go to a conference or something, you're meeting a lot of people with visual impairments, but the number one question that you're usually asked, like, are you really blind? Because, if a person with a visual impairment, generally the person asking that is because the person with a visual impairment is like at a coffee shop, they're out and about, they're in a mall, they're somewhere, they're doing something. And a lot of times the perception from that you get from TV and movies is that you can't do anything. And, which of course I think we all know. Everybody watching here, we all know that's not true. But, you go out into the general public and you meet hundreds and hundreds of people or thousands, and one of the questions is that, and I remember I got asked that a lot in the beginning, and
yeah.
Not so much anymore. I don't know. Maybe I run into too many things now. Maybe I'm just getting old and just.
Well, I think it probably stems from the fact that sighted people can't imagine their world without. I mean, how do you get around? How do you do anything? And so making that leap to it is.
I think I know why I'm not asked that so much now, because I travel with a guide dog.
Oh, well,
and I think most people think, well, because the guide dog is doing, the work, a lot of it, but they think, the reason that you can do it is because the guide dog is taking you there, which is true, but with the guide dog, you're the captain, and they're
Navigator, yeah.
Navigator, yeah. So you're telling them what to do, but then they're figuring out the best way to do it. But I bet that's because there was a steep drop off, and I never
Really?
thought about that.
Well,
But when
that's
you're with a
interesting.
cane, you're obviously the person that's operating the cane and all that.
Huh.
You know, so like if you're you're crossing streets, you're going through a town, you're weaving through traffic, hopefully not weaving too much, and then and then getting to a place, you're like, wow, how did you do that? And you're like, well, it's tons of things that you get taught. You know,
Yeah.
it's not anything hard. It's just. But with a guide dog, people think, oh, those dogs are smart.
The dog's,
Maybe that's it.
the
I
dog's
don't
got
know.
him covered. He's got.
Yeah, it's, which is true, really. Like, I don't want to underrate the guide dog, but gosh, yeah. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, then.
it does make things a lot easier.
Yeah, I would imagine. Well, okay. So over on YouTube, Courtney has joined us and asked, "Do you have any advice for working with watercolor and acrylic paint without vision?"
That's really hard, but yes. Well, acrylic paint that's acrylic paint's what I used. I did oil for 7 years, and all I did was oil paints, and then I went over to the dark side whenever my son Jack was born, and I was so afraid of getting oil paint on him or the paint thinners or different things you have to use with oil paint, and so I tried acrylics. Watercolor is a little more tricky, but there's ways to do that, and I was obsessed with watercolors for a while until I figured out how to do them. And then once I figured out how to do it, I wasn't obsessed anymore, and I moved on. And I haven't really done watercolor since. It was like the puzzle that was so interesting. But acrylics, though, are brilliant because they dry faster. So that speed of drying is really great. And there's actually some stuff you can mix in with the paint if you want to dry even faster than that. And there's some stuff you can mix in with the paint to make it dry slower. But let me show you. Okay. These are some mediums. And then
Oh,
I've
here,
got.
well, let me read them to you. And
Oh,
then-
that's. I mean, they're like they're here. Let me put them down because it's heavy structure gel. So all of these are heavy structure gel. Over here, yes, I have acrylic flow release, but with the heavy structure gel, it's different brands. So let me say because even though one says a heavy structure gel, each brand is a little bit different. So one might be a little heavier than the other. So. Even though they say the same, you can get more variation. So, but here, let me explain real quick why that's awesome and why that's great. You can mix these different mediums in with your paint. So, so like with my tube paint, I braille it. So this is a grass green. It's a light green. And I braille it so I know what it is. But then, though, you can mix one of these mediums into it and change the way it feels so that the one that I use most often is black and white. Like I can mix a medium, like the heavy structure gel, into the white. It'll make it feel kind of like toothpaste. I can mix a heavy that flow release over there into the black, and it makes it really runny. It actually makes it feel kind of slimy, almost like oil. So you have this really slimy, oily paint that's black, this really thick toothpaste-like paint that's white. There's no way you're going to confuse the two. So it just makes it really easy to be able to tell what's on your palette. So acrylics are great like that. And then if you want to mix, like get a gray between that black and white, you just mix for a texture, for a viscosity that's halfway between that really thick paint and that really runny paint. And then your color is halfway between too.
Yeah, and there's other there's other mediums. It's not just. I mean.
Oh yeah.
There's not just like thick and thin. There's if you go to the the acrylic section of the art store. There's like sandy, clumpy. Iridescent, which I don't know if there's a different texture with that one, but I mean,
it is a little. It depends on the iridescent, but there is. It feels really slimy.
Yeah, so it's just not.
This one I have
because I feel like if I was gonna close my eyes and try to paint with like thickness and thinness, I'd be lost. But if I could like differentiate clumpy versus sandy versus thick, then maybe I would be able to start.
That's a good point. And that's the way I was at first, but after a while though, I got so good at being able to tell the thick and the thin.
Yeah.
That I got so used to that, because that I started using that for all the colors. That's why I don't use like the gritty.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think about it, okay, now, we all know that there's millions and millions of colors out there. Like even in shades of color, like for blue, there's probably thousands of different shades of blue. I mean, you go into Home Depot or Lowe's, you see all these paint chips and stuff, and it's just like a rainbow. And you think, oh my gosh, I didn't know there's 10 different shades of white. You know, antique white, egg white. You know, and then like, I don't even know. And then, but in a painting, like a painting that you're doing, kind of like this R2 back here, maybe there's 3 different shades of blue in the painting. You don't have to worry about thousands of different shades. You just think about 3. So all you need is a system that's going to let you be able to determine the darkest blue from the lightest blue and then that medium blue.
Yeah.
You know, so that if you can
sense.
mix it that way for each of those 3 each time, you're golden. Same with the red, same with the yellow, same with the green. You know, you have the certain colors that you're going to use for that particular painting, and you can mix for it.
Yeah.
You know, so it just, for me, it made it simpler because it's just making it more into baby steps, like little steps. Now with the watercolor, what I had to do, and I don't know if I would do it to this day, but what I did back then, because I just wanted to try to do it, I did a painting of Jack. I did several, but I would do a raised line drawing on another piece of paper, not the paper I was going to do the painting on.
Oh, wait. Before you answer that, because that was really intricate, and I was going to jump in at this point. But she did ask, do you have any advice on how to draw a raised line on watercolor paper? I'm using the Sensational Blackboard to draw raised lines, but it only works with thin paper. So I thought...
Yeah, Sensational Blackboard and Cunningham.
So I thought your solution to doing watercolor, while good, it might be really, really hard for other people.
Yeah, true.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, and I should say, what works for me does work for some other people, but I'm really touch driven. Because of, I guess, my drawing and the way that I touch for me makes a lot of sense, and I can feel minute changes in touch, and then not at first. At first, Braille seemed like, only crazy people can read Braille because there's no way any normal person could be able to tell the dots in between that. And then after a while, you get used to it. It's like anything else, but it was the same with drawing and touch. So at first, my lines had to be giant, thick, and raised, but now, just a slight raise of like a layer of paint over another layer of paint, and if it's, I can usually feel it, or at least at some point. So if I can feel it at some point, and then I know it's my drawing, then I can fill in the parts I can't fill in my brain. Okay, I know where I am. Okay, cool. So, but yeah, you're absolutely right. So using that Sensational board, let me think. But for anybody that doesn't know, this board is really great by Ann Cunningham in Colorado, who's such a nice person. And but it's like you put paper on this rubber sort of board, and then you can put a line on it, but it makes it like an embossed line like on the other side. So it's really cool.
I think they use it at like a lot of museum workshops and stuff like that. So, well, Jeannie asked, were you using brushes or fingers to paint when it came to the wall?
Oh, brushes. And in fact...
you were using your fingers occasionally.
Oh, yeah. I was using my fingers a lot for blending and stuff and for filling. So I was constantly filling with my fingers, and I would put the paint down with the brush, and a lot of times I would use my fingers to put it in, to feather it out and all that, because on the bricks, it's much different. Like with the bricks, like the mortar, it's like this thick. I mean, deep. So you have the brick, in some places.
Yeah.
Other places it's not. So it's variable, And then, but with the fingers, I could feel all the little grooves and stuff. So as I'm blending it in, if it was a place that was really rough, it was easier for me to do it with my fingers than to do it with a brush. But a lot of this mural there was done with a 1-inch brush.
It's funny
which is
too.
ridiculous.
It's funny too because like that 1-inch brush was, it's 1 inch wide, but it's at least like 1.25 inches long.
Yeah, it's this. It's a brush like this.
By the time and it's still in the truck right now. By the time you were done with it, it was how big was it?
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, I'll have to show it next time. But it was like a nub, and then I have other ones that I've used and stuff. So but yeah, but also we had 4-inch brushes, 3-inch brushes.
Yeah.
And for a lot of the green. For the background, I actually did with a roller, but that was I thought I'd be able to use like small rollers and stuff for a lot more of it, but because the bricks were so deep, like the mortar, couldn't do it, so I had to do it with the brush, and the only way I could get the detail, in every part of that whenever I do a mural, it isn't like the spray paint mural, which I'm not knocking them or anything. If I could do that, man, I would certainly give that a try.
10 days into this mural, I was like, that's a new skill we're going to acquire.
Yeah, really.
I was like, I'm doing those black
paint
lines like some sort of car detailer, where you're like, trying to go around. I was like, I just want some spray paint.
Yeah, but this thing is it's actually just an 80-foot by 14-foot tall painting. A lot of it done with a 1-inch brush because that's how I could get the detail, and it's not just one coat of paint like you would with a spray can or something. I mean, a lot of places it might be 6-7 coats of paint because I'm putting in I'm putting in the underpainting, doing an underpainting on a mural. That's ridiculous. Nobody does that.
Except you.
Well, but it's because I have the system that I have to follow.
Yeah.
And,
Well, Troyleen joins us and says, "My friend Kay Colley got me in love with your paintings. I can't wait to see all of your work."
Oh, well, thank you so much.
And then asked, "Do you paint more with your fingers or your brushes?" I want to say really fast, I love Kay. She's one of my favorite people.
Oh.
Worked with her for years.
Oh, oh my goodness.
Yes,
Hi.
love her to death. So I'm excited.
I've heard so many wonderful things about you.
Yeah, she's one of those like coworkers where when they go, you're like super sad because they were like your your coworker BFF.
Oh,
But anyway,
I know what you mean.
your partner in crime. Anyway, but you do not paint more with your fingers than a brush.
No. In fact, with the murals, that's about the only time that I do that because whenever you get paint on your fingers, I use touch a lot to be able to paint. I mean, that's really the big thing. And even small amounts of paint now I can feel. But thick paintings are fun. Like R2, he's nice and thick, which I really like. That's so much more fun. But with a brush though, you can put the paint down and then you can let it dry. But I put stuff in my paint, or the way my paint is usually, it dries really fast. I can go back and fill it. And that's one nice thing about being able to paint thinner too, is that it dries a little quicker. But also some of the mediums will actually help the paint dry a little bit quicker, which is nice.
Well, my mom says, "Did you ever get the paint off Eagle?"
No. In fact, I got more on her, I'm afraid. Right as we were cleaning up, I didn't spill any paint the entire time.
Man.
And I knocked over a can of, what do you want color it was?
Red. It was red. It looked like a murder scene.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember you saying that. That rings a bell now.
It's like, perfect. Halloween. Here you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, it does look like somebody met a bad end next to the
Well, what was
mural.
funny about it is, like, Jack came up to the wall with us. Okay, our work is a family affair. So Jack would stay home periodically, and then, like, on some days he'd come up. The last day he came up, because we were wrapping things up, he's helping with some stuff. And so when he comes up, then Chip comes up, the other dog, because she can't be crated for longer than that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, it's a thing. And we're all up there. And so Jack goes to close all the paint, and he might have missed one or just didn't close it. There's lots of crust all over the top of those lids. And so you're going to put it in, and a giant gallon of red just plops over, spills red, and it's only like a little, like,
on the truck and the lift gate and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but in the grass. And so it's only like this 1 by 2 foot area in the grass of this park area. And so we're like, oh, what do we do? And so we go get buckets of water and we pour it, and the buckets of water just make this huge puddle, like, right by the truck, and it's just blood red.
It's like something from The Shining, I bet.
I know. I was like,
he didn't feel bad about it or anything, did he? Like, he didn't.
Jack?
Yeah, I mean, because it wasn't really his fault.
No. I think he
was
was
just part.
No, he was like, oh, sorry, yeah.
Oh,
No,
good,
it was all good, but it was just funny because it's like Halloween,
Yeah.
and we're leaving a nice Halloween decoration before we
you're
leave.
working with paint. It's gonna get, you're gonna make a mess and stuff. I want to make sure.
Yeah.
Jack is a sweetheart. He's a sensitive boy.
Yeah. Well,
I just want to make sure you didn't think he was.
No, he's good. He's good.
It's just part of it. You're gonna make some messes. Oh, but can I say really quick?
Mm-hmm.
I never did really answer about the how to make the lines and stuff.
Yes.
With it, because I'm not sure one way that I made it first, and what we still use for workshops, is a tulip fabric paint, and that works really nice. But it's it takes a while to dry. That board is really neat. I wonder if that would work. Like using that A. Cunningham board. What was it called?
The sensational board.
Sensation. Yeah. That might work. I
mean, what you used to do, and it's one of my favorite paintings. It's hanging in our bedroom. Is you would take a tracing paper and you would do the drawing with that tulip raised line stuff, and then you would
make
take
it real as sharp as I could. I'd make it as tall as I could.
Yeah, a really thick line, and then you would lay the watercolor paper over it or something, and then you would try to kind of follow that line, feeling it. And you did phenomenal, but I don't know how well that would work for for others.
Yeah. So I would use a lightweight watercolor paper, and I would put it over that other, so that you could push on the watercolor paper and you could feel the lines underneath it.
Yeah.
And then I would put the paint down, but
Yeah, there's probably a reason why you didn't stick with watercolor.
that was a mind-numbing experience trying to feel the lines underneath the paper and all that. But it was fun though, and and it's art is all about trying things and failing at things and finding other. So whenever that worked and I was able to do it, I thought, well, cool. But one of the things that I try to do too is that not just stuff that works for me, but I know that it's a lot of the stuff that I use isn't going to work for everybody. So I kind of want to know more about other paints and other ways, so that maybe I can help other people.
All of it's a big shared experience. I mean, if people have different techniques and can share it and vice versa, then we're all living the dream,
Yeah, and I've learned so much from other people about different painting techniques and stuff. It's nice to be able to try and share it. So I don't know if that will help you. Acrylics to me are easier because it's more like a minimal sculpture, where watercolor is so watery, depending. But also, if you use watercolor, I also recommend using gouache, which is just watercolor with charcoal kind of added to it. But you can get these gouache paints, and it's like an opaque type of watercolor.
Is it easier to control?
Well, yeah, and you can feel it a little better because it's a little thicker. So you can actually draw a little bit with the gouache, and but watercolor is a little difficult.
Yeah.
You can do it, but you have to really want to do it. It has to really be important to you to be able to do watercolors. But, I've done it. I don't do it for fun. I don't do it.
I don't do it anymore.
I don't do it anymore.
Well, let me say, Steve Evans, this is a little bit ago. Steve Evans, and we were speaking of the whole blindness and how you paint and the frequently asked questions and all this stuff. And I love this comment that he said. Steve Evans says, I get the, are you really blind, or how much can you see? I think that goes back to what I thought as a kid. Blind means you see nothing at all. I know now from experience that isn't necessarily the case. And I think this is such an interesting comment, and I want to emphasize this for a second, because I'm always like, whenever you're interviewed or whenever people ask you this, from a sighted person's perspective, I'm always like, they don't understand, because I know after living with you for a while that when you say, somebody will always say, well, what do you see? Clearly you see something, like a little bit of something. And you're like, well, I see something, but it's in my head. And I don't think that they make the connection of like, you're seeing something in your head, you're not seeing something in front of you. And I always think that that's interesting, because from a sighted perspective, that's where we live. We're like, you don't see anything, whereas you, in your head, you see things constantly. And so it's always interesting to me to try to like clarify the fact that you don't see anything. I mean, you have light perspective, so you don't, but you don't even really see shadows and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't see shadows. My eyes have gotten better at light, though. I know that, because
that's cool.
My brain. Well, because it's not any better. Well, my eyes aren't any better at it. It's just that my brain, over 20 years, has adapted probably to it. Like, I know I went to the doctor, and he would shine lights in my eyes. My pupils wouldn't react the way they used to. Like, they would go a lot slower, Mm-hmm. So it's like my brain's adapted to be able to let the light in more.
So do you think they're going slower or faster now? Like, if they...
It's going slower?
Oh, your pupils are still dilating slower.
Oh, well, yeah, it seemed like, it's like he would shine the light in my eyes. He was like, oh, your pupils aren't reacting. Oh, he said, oh, there they go. Like, it would take a while.
Okay.
Like, it was like, and which I'd never thought about. I never even, noticed, or,
Yeah.
I mean, I never asked people to shine lights in my eyes, so I never noticed it. But it is kind of weird, but it's, one of the things, though, one of the things that drove me a little batty whenever the vision first went was that when you're sighted, you're used to taking all of your information from your eyes. But after a while, like when you're not sighted, it's like when you're asleep, when you're dreaming, everything seems real. Like when you're having a dream, everything seems real. Like, like you were actually there. But that's because it's the exact same part of your brain that's making the images is that it does when you're sighted. Like, that part of your brain's a computer in a way. Like, it doesn't care where it's getting the information. It could be getting it from a stored memory. It could be getting it from your eyes. It could be getting it from like an imagination or something that you're putting together. It doesn't care. It's the visual center will put together the visual image.
Yeah.
And then so after a while of adjusting and just only having those mental images, when you hear something, you see something, not see something, but you hear something or you touch something, and you have these mental images. It started getting a little maddening because even when you like, if your eyes are closed, like, you can't get rid of it. Like, it's always there, and it was driving me a little crazy because I didn't have art to be able to try to get them out.
Yeah.
Or to do something, and that was one thing that drove me to the art, was because I felt like it was driving me a little nutty because like I would have this image in my brain.
That's interesting.
Of something, and I would think, like, I had no way to deal with it, and they wouldn't like you close your eyes or turn away. It's like everywhere you would go, it would be there. It was just like you couldn't run away from it.
It's super interesting because I don't know. I guess as a sighted person, you don't think about having to turn it off, like needing to turn it off.
Maybe that's maybe it's just me.
Yeah, you're pretty much crazy. We know.
It helped with that though. It was like cathartic. It was like I could actually, it was a way of dealing with that and be able to get those images out of my head in a way, And
well, Charlene asks, are you going to be anywhere soon to see your work?
Not really. Gosh, no. It's funny. I wish I was. We've been going, and our let's see. I'm going to be going to the Nasher Sculpture Museum next week in Dallas to give a workshop, and I'm going to be doing some things like that. But I'm not really traveling.
Yeah, anywhere. You don't have any like art shows in the area going on right now. I mean, your art shows are usually out of town, but but anytime you want to reach out, John's studio. This is Charlene. This is Kay Colley's friend.
Oh, cool.
So anytime we're always in Denton, so and it's an excuse to bring Kay by and say hi.
Yeah. So anytime, and we're here, so we're no, actually I'm home for quite a while, just doing these little workshops and things, but just working on commissions and stuff. So, which I've been looking forward to. Like, doing the mural was great, doing all these shows were great, but especially after COVID, all this travel, like we haven't had a day off in forever, which actually is kind of great because it's not like I don't know, I love everything. I love it's like I don't really want a day off, but it's but now they'll get to be in the studio every day, just working on paintings. Like I have one over here that I'm working on. I can't show because it's a surprise for someone, and it's gonna be cool. That's huge.
It is a big one. Well, Owen says, "Hey guys, late to the party. How's it going?"
Hey Owen.
It is going. Glad you joined us. Thank you. Just happy to be done with October. I am. And Jeannie says, they've used a hot glue gun to mark lines before.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
That's cool. That's a great idea.
Hot glue gun is really good.
Don't burn yourself.
Yeah, and you could try that tulip paint too. The tulip paint works really well. You can also, I don't know if it'd be, like, at first, a nice hard raised line is really nice. It's really good. I was going to say you can get this golden black paint. It's carbon black and it has a flow release already in it. And then if you add another flow release to it, it makes it in this rubbery kind of feeling where it's real tacky and rubbery, which for me is great, but it's not very raised.
Yeah, you have to have practiced a bit.
Yeah, it's better maybe as the next step or something. But
well, Owen says, I love the R2D2 in the background, and then Charlene says, I will do it for sure soon. So that would be great to hang out, to CK, come visit the studio.
Yeah.
And then Courtney says, thank you so much for the advice on the watercolor and all that.
Oh, sure. And I'm sorry that's not better advice. But the best thing though, honestly, when you're trying something like this, it doesn't matter if you're visually impaired or sighted or what, but when it comes to art, is to just be prepared to try a lot of different things and to fail a lot. But you only need to succeed once. Like once you find that one technique that actually works, you're golden. And until then, you can have fun experimenting, like just trying this, trying that. And if you're not, you don't have like your self-worth or anything involved into it, like if it works or not, you're like, hey, I'm going to give this a try. Nope, didn't work. Okay, let me try this. Nope, didn't work. You find the thing that does, that's great. And then you can keep trying other things. Maybe one day you'll find something that works better, and it's just, so that's kind of fun, if you just treat it like, I don't know, it's like, what else are you going to do with your time? Like,
I mean,
TV
do you
is
really
great.
need an excuse to buy any more supplies from Michael's?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
my
you know,
hobby is buying art supplies, not actually using them.
Well, I'd love to help you with that.
I'm pretty sure there's a hobby in just collecting hobbies.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? You're trying to give my dad that every Christmas.
Man, I am
She
determined.
gives my dad
Dude,
all kinds of metal detecting, wood burning, leather carving. What else have you
I've done it all,
given my
like
dad
sailing. I bought an enormous RC sailing boat for the lake. Yes, metal
You're always looking
detecting,
for a
wood burning.
hobby.
I've got a new one this year.
today?
I've got a new
no.
one.
What is it now?
Magnet fishing.
Oh, that. Yes, yes. You know, I think you're trying to give my dad tetanus, but because she wants dad to use this giant magnet to pull up stuff from the bottom of the lake, which is the pier's been there since the 50s. So, you know, there's
You know there's going to be cool stuff down there.
There's
At least
70
one or
years-
two of your mom's phones. I'm just saying.
there's 70 years worth of lost lures and stuff with the rusty hooks.
Antique lures. That's
There you go.
They're antique.
Antique lures. We're all going to be rich.
You know,
You know,
When
but
somebody
he
doesn't give
probably
you-
would enjoy that though.
when somebody doesn't give you Christmas ideas,
That's
you
what
just
they get.
that's what they get. They get a new hobby from me every year.
Oh, well, that's
So,
nice.
anyway.
Well, guys, I'm sorry that wasn't more of a fact thing, but I did get to ramble, and I do love that. So, thanks for letting me ramble.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Next week we will back to I don't know, maybe do trivia, do art giveaway, do something fun, and all that fun stuff. So be sure like, subscribe, share
Yeah.
us, tell us what you would like to see on the show, and we'll do it.
Yeah, and I should say, I'm going to be making these little videos. I am, some of us. Some of the people in the room will be making these like short little videos just about things we find fascinating about art and about how art, I don't know, just different concepts. So I'm going to be doing some of those and trying to put those out. I don't know, and if people dig them, I'll make more. But but it'll be fun because I'm a nerd. I love to research little things and find out. And if I find out something cool that I think you might like, it'd be fun to make a video about it.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Thanks, guys. See
Have
you,
a great night, guys.
Yeah, next Tuesday.
Bye.